everyone, Christina here, and I'm really happy to share this process video for this 12 by 12 layout called Skate Takeover. It happened at a mall here in Phoenix Metro Center, which was a staple for me growing up in the 80s. A large group of roller skaters were able to skate the mall before it closed earlier in June, so I finally get to use the Hip Kit August kit that has that cute roller skate in it. And just really happy to use this kit. If you'd like to see what else is in that kit, I'm going to link a card up in the upper right there where you can go see the unboxing video for that kit. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so I have some papers cut down. Now, all of these pattern papers are from the Hip Kit August main scrapbooking kit. The dark blue paper, the black paper, and the white paper are just from my own personal stash. I have two different 4x6 photos that I'm trying to decide between. One that a professional photographer took of the entire group of us, which I thought was really great, and then one of me in front of them all. I decided to go with the larger one because I wanted to show not only the great roller skating community that we have here in Phoenix, but how they came out to support the mall. So I'm going to lay this down. This is just some blue Bazzill cardstock that I had in my stash. I originally was going to do the black, but I thought it was just a little too hard against the other colors, and that blue matches that blue in the pattern up at the top almost perfectly. Those white thickers there are some chipboard thickers that were, again, just in my stash. And I'm going to use those for the title and pull a couple of the wood chip and a couple of these ephemera out to use. So I have some ephemera up there. I have this heart, that word style. There's a skate. I have this little wood chip arrow, which never goes anywhere because there's no other green in the kit. So I didn't want to bring in another color. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to mark where the photos and the journaling tag is going to kind of be, because that orange zigzag is on the back of a manufacturer's strip, and I have a limited quantity of that, and I wanted to use some of it down on the bottom left with that dark blue to add. Basically, I'm taking two different page maps, and if you haven't ever been to pagemap.com, I recommend checking them out. And I'm going to combine two different ones. So here I have some little photos that I printed from my HP Sprocket. Absolutely love that little printer for little photos like this. Yes, you can do it in Lightroom, which is usually where I do it. But I didn't want to mess around with trying to add some extra photos to fill up a 4x6 sheet. So I just thought, I'll just print out the two photos I need from the Sprocket. And now I'm going to trim down some of the excess border on these, because in using two different page maps, I have one page map for the photos, which is one of the September 2020 page maps, and then another page map for the layout, which is from July of this year. It kind of left me with not a lot of white space or free space between the items, so I just want to kind of condense things as much as possible. So now I'm going to go ahead and lay this paper down. This is called X Marks the Spot, and blue, teal, they're definitely my favorite colors. I love gray too, and I just wanted to take the center of that page and use that. And now I'm going to take some of those little strips and just tack them down around the edges, so that way they peek out from behind where the photos and everything is. And of course, never get them quite right the first time around, so I always end up having to fuss with things a little bit to get it just right. But I'm going to get these laid down, and then I have, this nice little border, and you would never know that it's missing a big chunk of it behind the photos. So that's going to be kind of my header at the top of the page. And I'm just going to get out my handy dandy ATG gun. I really love the ATG gun for larger pieces like this. And just really, lay down a couple of nice big strips of tape and get that stuck down really good. It's really awkward in small spaces. That's why I have that little Elmer's. It's kind of like a dot tape runner. And I love that Elmer's one because it's refillable, like the ATG. So you're not throwing, plastic away every month when you run out of tape. So now I've got my photos, and I'm going to go ahead and mat down this photo. I'm going to take the little white paper off first. This was that large photo that the professional photographer took. There must have been, I'd say probably at least 30 of us, roller skaters. There were a couple of skateboarders, a couple of people on inline skates. And it was just a really great event to see everybody come out and support this mall it was really a staple for us in the 80s. It was like the main mall to go to. So I'm really sad to kind of see it go, but as most things in life, change happens. So, and now I've got this rad, which when you're thinking of the 80s and skating and everything, rad is a perfectly fitting word. And I think I'm going to use it up there in that upper left for a cluster up there. I'm going to go ahead and get these papers done for the lower left, but I wanted to add a little dimension, so I'm just going to use my Create 365 and just punch out a little bit of border kind of texture on the bottom of that page. I like that particular punch because it's a little bit more kind of minimalist or industrial looking, whereas some of my other border punches are a little more feminine or lacy looking. So I'm going to go ahead and tack these down. And that roller skate that you saw a minute ago, I wanted to use it, but I'm just really not sure. Just trimming off a little bit, there was a little hint of white on the edge of that strip from when I cut it off from the 12 by 12 paper. So I'm going to get this laid down, and like always, I try to get it laid down right the first time, but I end up fussing with a lot of things. If it's crooked and I can see it's crooked, I have a really hard time just letting it go. I'm curious. I'm going to post a poll up in the upper right. How are you when things are crooked? If you notice it, do you have to fix it until it's straight? Do you only fix it if it's extremely noticeable, or do you just let it go and, just let it be, it is what it is? So I'd really love to know what you do on your scrapbook pages. So please take that poll. Now I'm going to go ahead and lay this down, and then I'm going to bring that blue roller skate back, and I'll show you in a second here. There I go, fussing with it, making sure it's kind of straight. And I didn't get it perfect, but it's good enough. So I've got that blue roller skate. There's a lot of blue going on in the papers. That rad, the background is blue. And I decide that I need some other color in here. So I find some orange paper from my stash. This one is just straight plain orange cardstock. So I'm getting my large circle punch out to punch a large circle for behind that main element up at the top. And then the other paper right here with the white on the back, this is actually orange with like a micro polka dot. And so I just punch out a little hexagon, and I'm going to put that little heart ephemera that you saw earlier. There it is. I'm going to put that down right there because roller skating, it's my life. I've been skating since I was 3 years old. I used to work at a roller skating rink when I was in my early 20s. So besides scrapbooking, it's probably like my favorite activity. So I decided to move those photos around a little bit. I didn't want to cover up the person in the background there. It's blurry, so you can't really see their face, but I just wanted to show some of the other people. And that photo of me in the reflection in the mirror, that works. I can cover up the edge of that. So I move that skate aside, and I'm going to cut out the white skate on the plastic. And the reason I do this is because I like to be able to move it around a little bit before I actually permanently set it down, and keeping it on the plastic backing helps me do that. I'm going to do the same thing with that wood chip that you saw there. It says, "Let the good times roll." And that brings in some of the red and the yellow from the center of that heart. So now I'm going to put little I don't know, what do you call those little things that you put on the holes of tags? Anyways, I punched one out in blue because that tag just looked a little lonely by itself. So I wanted to add just a little pop of color to that. So I'm using a little piece of that same blue cardstock from the background. And then I'm going to trim down as close as I can to the edge of this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my pencil and I'm actually going to very lightly trace around where that wood chip is and where the edge of the photo is. That way, when I write my journaling, I know how much space I have and I don't have to worry about anything getting covered up. So I get my handy dandy Uniball pen. This is one of my favorite pens for journaling. And I write my little story about my goodbye to Metro Center Mall. And then those are actually some custom stickers I made for myself for my planner. So when I have a roller skating event, I always like to put it in my planner. And those roller skates actually match my roller skate. So I designed them so it looks exactly like my roller skate. I thought they'd be really cute. So I've got things pretty much where I want them to be. So I'm going to go ahead and tack down the photos and kind of start getting everything put together. So I'm going to leave that white, of course, on the photo because, you know, at people's privacy. I don't have everybody's permission. Even though it was a public event, a good number of people for the photo quickly took their mask off. And, you know, I just don't want their faces all over YouTube without their permission. So, and then I'm going to go ahead and tack down that tag as well, and then get my other photos placed. I guess before I do the other photos, I'm going to get that wood chip out. And at first I was just going to put it down, but I decided I wanted some dimension behind it. So I pull out this roll of foam tape that I have. I don't remember if this is the scrapbook.com foam tape or if this is foam tape I got from somebody somewhere else. But I really like it because you can easily just tear it with your hands. So you don't have to worry about getting your stickers or your scissors all gucked up, you know, with foam tape, the edges of it and stuff. So I lay down the background there where I know I want it and erase the little trace line from around where the wood chip is going to go. And of course, that was a little crooked, so I got to play with it. I'm going to get these all peeled off and then get this stuck down. So the page is really coming together now. It's almost done. So I'm going to go ahead and get these photos stuck down. And like I said, for small things, I really like using that Elmer's. It can be a little difficult sometimes because it won't roll over itself, but you know, that works. It's tape, you know, you can always make it work because it's a dot runner. It's not an actual like full tape runner. So then I'm going to go ahead and get that laid out. I realized that it has to go up a little higher so that way it doesn't hit my roller skate there. I should have brought the photos up a little bit more, but that's okay. They're good where they're at. So now I'm going to go ahead and get those stickers out. And the event was called a skate takeover. So I thought, hey, you know, that's going to be a perfect title for this page. So as always, I love laying thickers or any alphabet stickers down with my ruler because then I can line up the bottom of them and they look a lot more aligned when they're on the page. I'm a little OCDP, and when things are a little bit out of alignment, but they're supposed to be in alignment, my eye just has a really hard time with it. Now, obviously, some things are meant to be a little off kilter, and those are perfectly fine for the most part for me. I can handle things off kilter when they're supposed to be off kilter. But alphabets, I usually prefer those to be in line. So I have these two colors. Those little alphabets are from the August Hip Kit Pocket Life Kit. And I was going to use the purple, but again, I didn't want to bring in any other colors. So I decided to go with the teal. So now I think my page is done, but it's really not. I decided I want to do a doodle border all around the page. And there we go. Now the page is done. So I was really happy with the way this came together. Usually don't merge two different page maps together, but it is what it is. So I've got my roller skate, the heart, couple of photos of me, the group photo, the title, that cute little puffy roller skate sticker. I wish I had more of those. So that's it. I hope you like the page. Make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any videos. See you later.